Hi, my name is Thomas Yates, student at Full Sail University, and this is the evolution of the horror film genre. Horror films span from the silent film era, such as The Man Who Laughs, released in 1928, to modern day, such as The Strangers, that released in 2008. Horror films evolved in very innovative ways to terrify audiences throughout the years, and they hold major cultural and historical significance, and we're going to talk about that today. The Lumiere brothers were the first to make horror films, but they were short in length and didn't have a story. It wasn't until 1896 when George Méliès uh, directed The House of the Devil. It was 3 minutes runtime, and it included a narrative and ghosts and goblins and ghouls, and it's fantastic, and I highly recommend it. It's one of the first horror films, and it's revolutionary. Méliès continued to make movies to the 1900s, but once World War II ended, post-war horror came, and it came with a much darker tone: death, destruction, pandemonium, and also artistic ways to view the World War II's devastation, uh, showing characters with confusion, and it really depicted what soldiers went through, all the disorientation and everything, and the horrors that they dealt with. Um, And films also during this era depicted death in various ways, such as Nosferatu and Phantom of the Opera, both very great films. The Great Depression was a very, very terrible time, and audiences needed escapism during this time. So films like Frankenstein and Dracula were released, and they entertain audiences, and they entertain audiences today as well. Fantastic films. Uh, Horror movies through the late 1930s, early 40s were B-movie sequels, not very great, but there are a few standouts, such as Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman and House of Frankenstein. Not amazing, but entertaining. Also through the 1950s, movies such as Godzilla and other movies depicting nuclear fallout or radioactivity were very entertaining as well, but it wasn't until the 1960s, the beginning of the 1960s rather, when Psycho was released. Legendary filmmaker John Alfred Hitchcock really put an amazing movie together. It started the slasher genre. It influenced tons of great directors such as John Carpenter, and it influenced tons of slasher films such as Halloween and Friday the 13th. Great films, but they did have terrible sequels throughout the 1980s and early 90s, and it wasn't until 1996 when Scream was released, and this revitalized horror as a great story, commentary on films during the day, and also homage to old films. Fantastic. And there's similar films such as The Faculty in 1998 and Final Destination in 2000. Both great films, follow a similar formula, and they're very entertaining. But from this point on, there's a lot of movies that do jump scares that aren't very innovative, but there are a few standouts that I enjoy, such as Insidious and Longlegs. They both have great cinematography and great storylines, and I look forward to the evolution of horror films from this point on. And I'm sure they're going to find great and innovative ways to make horror films. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and I hope you have a great day.